I'm gonna work on mounting the jack point here. So here's the old piece. I took a piece of paper and kind of drew a little template, poked holes where the holes were here. Grabbed a Sharpie. So I got my marks there. They're pretty faint, but they're there. Here's the old one. It was mounted here. So if I do it there, it's pretty dang close. It's going to take me a little bit. I'll figure it out. All right, I put a self-tapper in there, so I'm going to drill this in, hopefully. Kind of the rough spot I want to weld it on. About there we go. Go. I'm not even sure if this is the correct jack or not, but I can go down a little more. So I guess good to me. I'm not sure. The gas tank, I don't know if this is the right jack, if this thing's supposed to be sticking out. I found a picture online here. This is on the Samba. It looks like it slides in there, so very well could be the correct jack. So this is how this person had it mounted. Not sure what year that is, but basic concept there. Looks like that's in a decent spot. The hood can close. So I think I'm gonna weld it on right there. Okay, that's good enough. Here I'm just cleaning up all the welds. Grabbed a little file. I forgot I had this little belt sander, so I grabbed that. That made it a lot easier to get in that groove to get that weld where I had the self-tapper screw. Filed it a little bit more. Okay, got that welded on. Tried to clean off as much of the red paint as I could. Now I'm gonna finish taking this piece off, and I'm gonna try to weld the new one on here. Is my next goal. So I'm gonna drill the rest of that one out and then go from there. I was drilling all the spot welds out and tapping to break them loose there. Came out pretty good. Got the rest of it off. I tried not to drill through like I did on these, so I'm gonna end up welding these up first. I'll clean all this rust off. I got this off. It was a little harder. I had to drill out these. And then when I got closer, because I still had the hood on, started to drill out the side ones, but just put a really small, tiny bit on there and it got in there. So I'll wire wheel all this. I'm going to weld those holes up first, grind them down, and then I'll get started on putting the new one on. I took a wire wheel, tried to get off as much as I could, and then I used a roll lock disc as well, and then also a flap disc. Kind of just went through an array of different sanders, try to get it all as much as I could. I plug welded all that up. Now I'm going to grind that down and then start fitting that new strip there. I got all the rust cleaned out. I took a flap disc and ground it down as much as I could, and then I grabbed a roll lock on the angle grinder to finish it off, kind of make it a little bit more fine-tuned. And I had to grind down the underside as well because some of the weld blew through. All cleaned up. Plug welded all the holes I drilled from taking the other one out. So I got this from Wolfsburg West. There's the part number. I'll put it in my description below as well. It's a little greasy. I'm going to wipe it down. Some wax and grease remover. And then we'll get it. I don't know if I should start here. Probably start. Yeah, I think I'll start at the top and maybe get some clamps. Try to clamp it down. And then I'll just kind of slowly work my way down, welding it into place. I don't have, the spot welder that the factories, they just put it on there and it welds. So I'm going to have to drill some holes in this thing so I can weld it on here. I might do about every 2 inches because that's kind of how they did it from the factory. Now I'm going to pre-drill holes into this. I think I'm going to do roughly every 2 inches here. Maybe. I'm going to do a little punch here. I think I'll punch it first. Little divot. Let's try that now. See if the drill bit will go. Yep. There we go. Okay. So it's just a little hole there. If I can weld that and then hopefully be able to grind it down to smooth it out. That's going to be probably the hardest part. I'm going to do every probably 2 inches or so all the way down. All right. I got the holes drilled. They're real little all the way down. I'm going to end up having to cut the bottom here. So I just guessed roughly there. I'll end up having to trim some of that off. But I'm going to wait till I get it tacked on here before I cut the end off here. I'm going to spray it down some wax and grease remover. And then I'm going to See how dirty that was? It was pretty greasy. I think they probably put something on it when they package it up so it doesn't rust, I assume. Primer finally dried. The weld through primer I had wasn't squirting out, so I just primed it with etch primer, and then I ground down the metal there. And got that ground down. So I'm gonna attach this now. I'm gonna start up here and weld it and slowly just go down until I get to the end here. So that's a good spot for it. I have to move it here. It's pretty close. The other side has a little gap like that too. I think we're good there. I'll go double check the other side, make sure I'm about the same. Yep, there's a little finger gap there on the other side. I'm gonna make it match. I would put this over here, but that's in the way, so I clamped it down here. But I'm gonna start, I'll weld it here first, and then I'm just gonna go down. I'm gonna put it in time lapse for that. Maybe one more here and then trim that edge off. I'm just gonna trim this here. I think the other one goes down about here. Probably cut it about there. Might go a little further. It doesn't really matter as long as it connects. Here we go. There we go. See if I can get that. I need to cut it a little more, a little shorter past that lip. Got the body a little there. See if I can just bend the rest of it off. There it goes. Okay. Now try that. Much better. Okay, I can weld that on. gonna have to drill one more hole, but I can weld one spot here. There. Just gonna close my eyes here. Then I think I'm gonna have to one more hole. Then my drill bit won't walk all over the place. Went through there. So I have 2 holes here at the very end. There's 2 left. I'm gonna get those. All I have to do, I'll do one at a time here. I'm gonna clamp this down. Do that middle one, or the second to last one. Close my eyes again here. That last one's pretty much done. Grab the hammer here and push down on it. Okay. Right on. Got it all welded on. Now I gotta try to carefully grind those down without hitting that lip. That's gonna be a little bit time consuming, but that's what I'm gonna do next. I'm taking the flat disc in here. Got it welded on and ground down. It's not perfect, but it's decent. But it is on now. The rubber will go in here, underneath here. Oh, none of this will be seen. I was gonna try to maybe weld these up a little more and grind more, but I don't want to cut through any more material, so I'm just gonna leave it how it is. It'll be next. I'm gonna weld these holes up here. So I'm gonna clean the metal around and then weld the holes up. Then start sanding a little, see how far I can get today. I wanted to sand all the inside, at least this outer part. I'm gonna sand all this paint off down to bare metal. This I'm probably just gonna sand, just scuff it up because that's the original paint. This paint is not on the outside, it's peeling, so I'm going to remove all of it down to bare metal. This is factory, but I will clean off all the undercoating stuff. We'll see how it goes. I might end up having to sand it. Need to fix this a little more. I got the holes all ground down. Some of them are indented, so I'm going to take the hammer and dolly, try to straighten them out as much as I can. I might need to have my wife come give me a hand, but we will see. I need to hammer a lot of this from the inside. See if I can get my hand up in there or not. Might be fun. Okay, that worked. I started welding it up. I ended up welding on both sides, inside and out. And then I started grinding it down with the flap disc and a roll-lock wheel clean up all the welds. Turned out really nice. Holes all welded up. I ground it all down, sanded it a little bit. And I also had to go on this side, grind it down, and still need to sand it, but that's fine. No more holes. My next task, I think I'm going to just start removing the paint on the outer part here. I'm going to do the front apron and then work my way around to this side of the fender, and then I'll do the inside last. Quick update. I ground down the wire wheel. This is pretty rusty, so I'll have to, I don't know, this whole front apron's pretty hammered, so might need to order that and replace it because this thing is just hammered. These pits are super thick. So should have done that before, because now I'm gonna have to take that off again, even though I just did that. But needs to get done. Oh, and then I started grinding a little bit up top there and trying to smooth this out a little bit. This was cracked here, so I welded that up, reshaping it. Someone fixed it at one point on this side too, and then I got off all the undercoating there. So now I'll probably just sand this like 180, maybe 320, but I'm gonna grind this off right now. The wire wheel, this upper part with the multi-layers, it's peeling off, and probably call it a day. Here I just have my grinder with the wire wheel that I bought from Harbor Freight. It's a pretty aggressive one. I also got a less aggressive one. I tried it as well right here, but definitely didn't do as well. This probably took me maybe 20 minutes total. And then I sanded it all down. This is with 80 grit. Kind of go over it one final time there. Feather out the edge. That's where I ended. Got all the paint off here. I'm going to do a little body work here. Determined I think I need to buy a new front apron because it's too rusty. It sucks. Because I just welded it onto this piece. Oh well. Moving on. Got the holes welded up. Jack point welded on. Hood seal strip welded on. Where I'm at. Did quite a bit today.